Hi there, welcome to this video and thanks for subscribing to this channel. Today we are going to speak about how to smoothly and intentionally exit employment to self-employment. This is a very important video, especially if you've been thinking about exit from employment. One warning is that do not just jump out from employment. You need to actually take some few steps so that you can smoothly walk out. So, before we go into the details, let's listen to this. Welcome back. So, in order for you to exit employment, to go into self-employment, you need to think through some simple steps so that you don't go wrong when you leave employment, or you don't go into debt, or don't go into problems. So, exiting employment into the new world of self-employment is not just a walk in the park. You really have to have decided and taken some deep thought about what is this that you want to do and how you want to do it. So step number one, you need to know what's your minimum income to live on currently, and is that sustainable once you leave employment? How can you ensure the sustainability of that particular income when you leave employment? So the first thing you do to understand your minimum income to live on is to list all your expenses: your rent, your groceries, your fuel, school fees for your children. Anything that you normally spend on a monthly basis, you need to list it down in detail. Perhaps you need to revisit your 3-month spend and take an average, all right, of how much you spent in the last 3 to 4 months per month, and then take an average on the things that are actually a must buy for every month. Yeah, you may leave out those niceties and things that you spend and you can do without. But what is that you must have? Of course, you must have food in your house, you must have rent, you must have fuel to go to work, you must pay quite a number of things, you must maybe have credit on your phone, and so on and so forth. And once you have that particular detail well written down, total it up. So that is your monthly spend. So once you understand that a monthly spend, you need to go to step number 2. You need to think about what packages should you make or design for you to be able to make that minimum income per month. If you are to leave employment, what is it that you can do out there to be able to make enough income to be able to live on per month without making any, extra money? What is that? What's the break even? Assume you normally spend 100,000 Kenya shillings. That is about $1,000. Assume that is your spend per month for $1,000. So you need to think roughly what package will you sell out there, and how many people can you sell it to? For example, let's say for you to make $1,000, maybe you need about 100 people. Yeah. Those 100 people, maybe they are buying whatever you're selling at 1,000 Kenya shillings or $10 each, right? So if you say you need 100 people to buy your product or service at $10 each, which is 1,000 Kenya shillings, then where are you going to get those 100 people? Alternatively, you can say, I need your package is quite good, and therefore you can sell it for about maybe $500. That means you only need 2 clients per month to be able to make your minimum spend. So it's up to you to think through what product or service can I sell out there to be able to make my minimum income, and how much would that product go to, so that will give you the number of clients that you need to have on it to be able to make that minimum income. So step number 3 is then how will you attract this number of clients? Assume that for every 10 people you speak to, you have about 2 people that you can convert into clients. That is about 20%. So for you to be able to convert 20% of your clients or of your audience to clients, or rather to ensure that they purchase your product or service, that means that you need to have your mathematics right. For example, the first example I gave was you're selling a product or a service for $10, and therefore you need 100 customers. If 100 customers is 20% of your audience, so how many people do you need to speak to per month to be able to make that minimum income? All right? So 100 is 20%. So what is 100%? Calculate that for me. All right? That looks like what? 1,600 people, right? So you need to actually have spoken to almost 1,600 people within a month. So every day, if you divide that by 30 days, you need to speak to quite a number of people. And therefore, perhaps you may decide then that $10 product or service may not be an ideal one. Let me go to the 2 clients that I sell to $500 within every month, and I'm able to, once I get 2, then I'm able to get my minimum, my minimum income. So if there are only 2 clients, each $500, purchasing a product or service of that amount, so and that is 20%. So all you need is about 10 audiences who can actually listen to you, and 2 of them are converted to your client or to clientele. Because normally when you go online and you're selling your services and products and services, what happens is that conversion rate is between 20 to 25%. So always work with those figures when you're doing your marketing plan. And therefore, so ensure that you actively engage those people who are listening to you, because more often than not, people don't buy on the first time you speak with them. Some people buy on the 5th time, some people buy on the 10th time that they have heard and seen you. And therefore, step number 3 is, or rather number 4, is to ensure that those people who are listening to you, you build a community for them so that you can speak to them more often. They can keep seeing you every day, every week, and so on and so forth. And the more people see you, the more they start relating with you, the more they start coming closer to you. So if you go to your Facebook page or your Facebook, you can create a page or a group, and then invite people there, especially those who are interested in your product or service. And then keep speaking to them about that product or service. More often than not, you find that by the 5th time, by the 10th time, 1 or 2 people will start buying. But it's not as easy as just jumping out of employment and starting your self-employment, and on the first month you'll get people. No, it takes a while for people to trust you, for people to actually trust your product or service, because you're newbie out there and there are people actually selling a similar product or service. So for someone who's been buying elsewhere to be able to turn to your product or service and listen to you and be able to actually connect with you and purchase from you, then you really need to have engaged a number of times and be known to them. And because people buy from people they trust, people they like, and people they believe in. So you actually need to create that particular connection, and that connection of trust has to come through for people to start buying from you. So those are 4 points. And the 5th point is that in that group that you've created, you have to keep talking as many times as possible. And in this way, you're practicing your art. You are not only actually engaging your customers or your potential clients, you're also practicing. And also as they comment, as they give you feedback, you're able even to modify your product or service. So it's very, very important to ensure that those people who are interested in a product or service, you keep engaging them. And at the same time, as you speak more and more to them, you're also communicating your methodology, you're also communicating the specifics of your product or service, and you're practicing and practicing and practicing. And then the final step is actually now you have engaged and people have come on board. And once you get perhaps the first client, then you are now closer to exiting your employment. So don't just jump out from employment, just start practicing, start engaging people, and start building that future that you really want. And once you have this particular methodology or these particular points well defined, well written down, and this particular exit plan properly crafted, then you will actually have a softer landing out there once you leave employment. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any comments, questions, please comment below and let's speak a little bit more so that you're able now to make that bold step to starting your own business. Asante sana, subscribe if you haven't, click the bell so that you can get more videos when we record, and see you next time. Goodbye for now.